Hello, everyone. Kia ora. Welcome to this exclusive webinar on Accelerate Your Career Master Study Options for Professionals at Academic EX in New Zealand. My name is Priyanka, and I will be your host for today's session. And before we dive into the presentation, I would just like to extend a warm welcome to all of you joining us from different parts of the world. We appreciate your time and interest in exploring the opportunities that Academic EX has to offer. And while we talk about getting engaged into our webinar, I would like to just urge each one of you to actively use the Q&A feature to submit your questions, whether you want to get clarity on the discussed content or you would like to hear a panelist insights on the related topic. Please do not hesitate to ask. All right, but that said, now I will dive into our content. So once again, my name is Priyanka Amin. I'm Client Relations Manager with Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited. And to talk about us, as you can see, we are based out of Auckland in New Zealand. The picture that you see on the right, the building where the arrow is pointing, that's where we are located. We sit on the sixth floor. The entire floor is ours. And as we are headquartered in Auckland, New Zealand, consisting of four licensed immigration advisors, our team's strength lies in its diversity, having helped clients from over 30 different countries. We offer tailored immigration solutions to meet each individual's unique needs. We are supported by a diverse staff representing over six different nationalities. We bring a deep understanding of various cultures and backgrounds to our work. Collectively, we possess over 20 years of experience in the immigration industry, guiding individuals and families through the immigration process. We are proud to be the most reviewed licensed immigration advisors in New Zealand, showing how committed we are to doing a great job and making sure our customers are happy. Our reach extends far beyond New Zealand, with local presence in key locations including India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Philippines, Bangladesh, and the Middle East, which helps us to serve the clients worldwide in a better way. All right, now since I have introduced us, I would now like to move further. And as you can see on the screen, we have a distinguished panel of speakers who will be sharing their insights and expertise with us. Our first speaker is Asta Kapoor, the International License Lead at Academic EX, and she will be talking about the enrollment process and discussing about various international study opportunities that are available for students. Next, we have Dr. Haley Sparks, the Academic Director at Academic EX. Dr. Sparks will delve into the curriculum and unique features of the master's program that are being offered, highlighting how these programs can accelerate your career growth. And finally, we have a senior licensed immigration advisor, Ms. Vandana Rai. So Ms. Vandana will provide valuable insights into the immigration process for international students and the pathways to work and live in New Zealand after your graduation or after completing your qualification. So we are excited to have all three of them today to share their expertise and insights. And as I introduce our speakers, I would now like to move ahead and we'll take a moment to just outline the scope of today's webinar. So we have a comprehensive agenda, as you can see, that we will be first talking about the program description and curriculum overview, where we will begin by providing an in-depth description of various programs that have been offered at Academic EX, followed by the admissions criteria and admission process. Then the Academic EX would be talking about the student support services that they provide, which will give you a broad understanding about um, the challenges that you all have and how they are there equipped to help you and support you throughout your journey while being at Academic EX. Then they will be talking about the career outcome and the options that are available. And last, we will be speaking about the skill migration pathway. Uh, Mostly, this topic would be covered by a licensed immigration advisor who will give you a detailed information about how you could look into settled in New Zealand after completing your studies. So we will explain the requirements and processes involved in obtaining a work visa and eventually permanent residency. So with that said now, I would like to pass over the virtual stage to our first speaker, and that would be Dr. Haley. So, Dr. Haley, I am stopping my screen share whenever you're ready. Yep.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, and kia ora. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it might be, wherever you're joining us from the world. And on behalf of academyEx, a big thank you to New Zealand Immigration Advisors Limited for this opportunity to share what we do at academyEx and hopefully provide you with some insights into opportunities that are available to study master's programs here in New Zealand. So I'm just going to kick straight into it. As Priyanka said, please feel free to pop any questions into the Q&A. My colleague Asta, who will jump in the presentation later, she can answer questions as well as we go, or we can pick them up at the end. So just give me 1 second. Just going to do some magic there. So first of all, I guess starting off with who is academyEx is probably a really good place to start. So academyEx has been empowering educators, businesses and community professionals since 2013. We are a private training establishment accredited by the New Zealand Qualifications Authority to deliver programs at level 7, 8 and 9 on the New Zealand Qualifications Framework. And we are rated as a Category 1 organisation. This is the highest category that you can get in New Zealand, and it means that the New Zealand Qualifications Authority are highly confident in our self-assessment capability, how we teach and learn, and they are highly confident in our success in our educational performance. So we do everything that we can at academyEx to uphold that rating. And to make sure that students have the very best experience, which is also related to us being a signatory to the International and Domestic Students Pastoral Care Code of Practice, to make sure that we're looking after each and every single student who walks through our doors. So Priyanka talked a little bit about the staff at New Zealand Immigration Advisors. At academyEx, we also have a very diverse staff. So we have a staff of about 60 permanent employees, and then a probably contractor basis of 50 or more contractors who contribute to the delivery of our programs from industry and from academia. So we've got educators, subject matter experts, technologists, data analysts, administrators, communicators, leaders, and Asta and I are very lucky and privileged to work with the colleagues that we do who provide and are so passionate about teaching, learning and education, and doing education differently, which you will see throughout this presentation. So you might have noticed that the slides are really bright and vibrant, and that's reflected in our campus or in our lab. So it's not a traditional university campus with lots of big buildings and lots of, libraries and things like that. Our campus is our office. We share our campus, that we share our office with students. And these are just some of the images that you can see of the spaces where our students learn, where they hang out, where they have discussions and where they communicate. So we love colour, we love things to be vibrant, we love things to be exciting, and you'll see that threaded throughout this presentation as well, but that gives you a little bit of an insight. And we're working at the moment on a space specifically for all of our students to come and work, because as we've got more international students over the last few months, they're coming into our offices and working. We need to make some more space, which is always a good problem to have. So at academyEx, our, motto or our vision is to create impactful futures. And by doing that, we can support you, your communities and your organizations to find your X factor. So what I'm going to show you now is a video that was recently created, which hopefully will give you some insight into what our kind of way of being and our way of doing things is at academyEx before I dive in to talk about the master's program. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this.
Kate needs a change.
Who said that?
A new purpose, a new degree, a better job.
You're quitting?
No, I'm not. Shut up.
She wants to make her mark. She wants to grow. She wants to feel extraordinary.
I do.
Yeah, Kate, you gotta find your X Factor.
X Factor! X Factor!
I'm at work.
Luckily, academyEx has everything she needs to brighten up her future.
You want me to study?
Yeah, X Factor.
X Factor!
Look, I'd love to learn more, but I've got kids and a job. Besides, I don't really want to spend all week hanging out with a bunch of teenagers.
No worries, Kate. academyEx is built for people just like you. All of our courses are hybrid, meaning you can study on campus and from home. It's the flexibility of online study, but with the support and community of other lifelong learners.
It's true. I'm getting my master's in technological futures. X Factor.
X Factor!
Cool, huh? Our courses are designed to be future-focused and move with the times. Unlike other institutes.
Technology.
This is hands-on, creative, collaborative learning taught by real industry professionals. No matter how you want to make your mark, academyEx ensures you get the training you need for the future.
Kate?
That's you!
Wish me luck.
So if you want to change your life, and maybe change the world, sign up today and let's find your
X Factor.
X Factor!
So that video gives you a little bit of an insight into our kind of way, our tone. We like to add some humor in there, some fun in there, alongside the kind of serious teaching and learning that takes place, but to do it in a way that's supportive, that's collaborative, and that everybody can come and be themselves. So I'll touch on some of those things that were mentioned in the video around where you can study and the types of programs we have moving forward. But this is just a little bit of an overview of who our students are. So at academyEx, we have both domestic and international students in our cohort. So international students are not in a cohort of only international students. You get to work with domestic students and have that experience to learn from them. As much as they have an opportunity to learn from international students who bring with them a wealth of knowledge and experience and skills and capabilities from around the world. So 72% of our learners are female. The average age of our students is 43. So that comes as a bit of a surprise to some people, but is representative of the fact that we only deliver postgraduate education. We don't deliver undergraduate programs. We don't deliver degree, bachelor's level programs. We deliver master's programs. So it means that our students are older, more mature, and come with a wealth of experience. Our cohorts are very diverse, whether that's in relation to ethnicity, culture, nationality, the industry or sector that they come from. And because we have a lot of domestic students, all of our domestic students, or almost all of them, work full-time whilst they're studying. So this ties into the idea of a research master's, which I'll touch on soon, but it influences the way our programs are designed and delivered to be able to be accessible to domestic learners working full-time and to international learners who are coming to academyEx. We like to work with learners who are passionate about learning, who want to develop future-focused skills, who care about the future development of their industries and their communities, people who have really good communication skills, people who appreciate the New Zealand education system, but at the same time have an open mind and are willing to think about education differently. And I'll touch on some of the ways in which we do that, whilst maintaining the rigor and quality of academia, but how we do that in a different kind of way at academyEx. Learners who are eager to build new connections, make lifelong friends with local and international experts and classmates. Some of the feedback our students give us is the most valuable piece of their experience is the connections that they make, is the networking that is possible and the experiences they have. And as I said, proactive and engaging in non-conventional classrooms. So we don't deliver lectures. We don't deliver tutorials as such, both the learner and the teacher, so to speak, are experts in their fields. And so that shapes the way we deliver workshops, the way we deliver content in a really interactive, discussion-based way, rather than a kind of the teacher as the expert telling everybody how things work. So we have three research masters programs: the Master of Technological Futures, the Master of Change and Organizational Resilience, and the Master of Contemporary Education. And what I'm going to do now is talk to each of those masters programs, explain a little bit about how they work, tell you a few stories about some of our students and some of the success that our students have seen, and let you know a bit of insight into how these work. So starting off with their entry requirements, because these are the same for every master's program. So rather than going through them individually, we'll do them all at once. So there are two ways in which you can get an entry into a master's degree at academyEx. The first one is what you could kind of, I guess, summarize as an academic pathway. So this is for students and learners who have a bachelor's degree or level 7 graduate diploma or higher, as equivalent on the New Zealand qualifications framework, and a minimum of 2 years relevant industry experience. So this means that this is not a master's program that is for people straight out of university. They may have experience in industry whilst they have been at university, and we can explore what that looks like. But as I said, our students are older, and so they have much more experience with a minimum of 2 years experience in a relevant industry. But we know that not everybody who wants to do postgraduate study may have had the opportunity to do undergraduate study at bachelor's level. So we have a second pathway into the master's, which is called equivalent. And this is where you don't have to have an academic qualification as part of your entry, but you do need at least 5 years professional experience in a relevant industry. And what we do is we work with the applicant to collate a series of evidence that we then assess to be equivalent to bachelor's level or higher. So this provides opportunities to people who have not engaged in tertiary study before, but have significant experience. So sometimes people call it the university of life. You've kind of gone into your career, gone into your life, built up your career, built up your experience, and that's just as valuable to us as coming in with an academic qualification. With international students coming into New Zealand, there are English language requirements that must be met. And at master's level, the English language requirements being an IELTS score of 6.5 with no band less than 6, or a PTE band score of 58 with no individual band less than 50. There are a range of other English language tests which we can accept that can be found on the New Zealand Qualifications Authority website, but these are the two most common ones that we see coming through. If the bachelor's degree that an applicant holds is from one of 7 countries, including New Zealand, Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, Ireland, or South Africa, that is classed as meeting English language entry requirements. But it must have been studied in those countries rather than studied through another institution within another country. So we can speak with each applicant around that and advise whether they do need to do an English language test or not, but sometimes there are exemptions that can be made. Each of our applicants also have an interview. Sometimes this can feel a little bit scary, but I promise all of our staff are really helpful and friendly, and the interview is just a conversation which serves 2 purposes. First purpose, so that we can ask some questions and make sure that the program is the right fit. Because what is most important for us at academyEx is that all of our students are enrolling in a program that's going to help them achieve their goals and aspirations. And we don't want you to be enrolling into a program or your clients to be enrolling into a program that's not going to serve the purpose that they wish or help them to achieve their goals. So we can verify that through the interview. And it's also equally an opportunity for the applicant to ask us questions as well. So we like to have that reciprocal 2-way kinds of conversations. It's not just about us asking questions, but them asking questions from us as well. So the Masters of Technological Futures, let's start there. This is the academyEx's longest standing Masters program. It has been delivered since 2017, and the 24th cohort has just started. So there have been over 200 graduates of this program in the last 7 years, and we currently have 5 active cohorts of around about 110 students enrolled into this program. It's known colloquially, I guess, as a new school MBA. So people have an idea of what an MBA is, but this is an MBA done a little bit differently. We won't go and watch this video because I'll talk to the points in this video, but you can find all of these videos on our YouTube channel, which Asta will mention towards the end. But the Masters of Technological Futures, the most important thing, I guess, to understand about this program is this is not an IT program. This is not a kind of technical IT program. This is a program that's designed for business and community professionals who are working in industries, and you could say at this point in time working anywhere, where their work, their life, their communities are being impacted by technology, or for people who want to use technology as part of a solution for real life problems. So this program really focuses on the application and impact of emerging and disruptive technologies. So the one that's the top of everybody's conversation, water cooler conversations at the moment, is AI. So our students will be enabled and learn how to use AI ethically, be empowered, I guess, to use AI, and to think about the impacts and implications of technologies like AI. Equally, technologies like blockchain, the Internet of Things, thinking about the future of work, the future of mobility, the future of health, thinking about the ethics of technology. Those kinds of things are what this program is focused on. It's not a program where you delve into kind of, more kind of pure traditional IT. So some students are a little bit scared and they say, I'm not technical or I don't have a technical background. That's absolutely fine. I've seen many students succeed very, very well in a program like this and have no technical background and feel like their very digital skills are not very good, but they have succeeded well and above expectations. This program can be completed in either 14 or 18 months. The 14-month version is 32 hours per week of study, and the 18-month version is 25 hours per week. So both of these master's pathways are classified as full-time. Hence, you can apply for a student visa with them. But the 14-month version just means the time you have to implement a project is shorter. We have very, very few students doing this program in 14 months. It is very intense. And 18 months is much longer and just gives more time to implement a project, which I'll talk about soon. It is a master's research degree as categorised by the New Zealand Qualifications Authority, and the reason for that is because there is a 90 credit level 9 component. So any master's degrees that have a level 9 component of more than 90 credits can be considered master's research. And so that has implications from a visa perspective, which I will touch on shortly. So the outcome is a level 9 New Zealand Qualifications Authority accredited master's degree in technological futures. We have one remaining intake for this year in October, and then we've just released our intakes for 2025, which will be starting in February, in June, and in October. Those should be live on our website. I was reassured today that they have been published. So this is just a visual. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because it's similar to what I have just explained, but this gives you a visual representation of the structure of the program. So you start in part 1, you understand and explore all of these different technologies, and this is really an opportunity for exploration, for discovery. So you learn as much as you can in that part, and then you think about and reflect on what does that mean for me? What does that mean in my context? What might I want my project to be about? You're then supported through 3 months to develop a research proposal. At the end of that research proposal, you'll have a good to go plan. And then in part 3, you get to actually implement the project. So this is a very applied master's. It's not about designing a proposal or a strategy that never gets implemented. The proposal you develop, you will then go and do. So you get to do the project, which is the most exciting and most rewarding part for many students. As I mentioned earlier, our programs are designed to be also accessible to domestic students who are working full-time. So that means we deliver in a particular way. So this program is delivered through weekly online classes. For 2 hours once per week, there is an online class. And then every 6 weeks, there is one full day workshop in the lab, which I showed you pictures of earlier. This blend of online and in-person delivery means that the program can be accessible, so students can be able to attend the online classes from wherever they are located. As I said earlier, this is a research master's if the 90 credit level 9 component is selected. So as part of the interview process, we'll speak with each student around their kind of ideas, any intentions that they have, and assuming a 90 credit project is viable, and we see that the research capability is there, a research master's is what is written into the offer letter, which then means that unrestricted work rights are on that student visa, which allows students the opportunity to work full-time. If students are working full-time, we definitely do not recommend doing the 14-month version of this master's because you just don't have enough time in your day and you don't have an opportunity to explore those other really important things around being an international student in New Zealand. I'm not going to go into this either because this is kind of been covered, but there are lots of opportunities for international students and our domestic students to engage with faculty, to engage with subject matter experts, and to really keep up to date and on the pulse of what is happening out there in the world of technology. So all sorts of events, workshops, things that students can attend alongside the core class components of the master's program. If a post-study work visa is something that students aspire to be looking to apply for following the master's, there are requirements that they need to meet while they are studying. So they need to be on site in our lab 20 hours per week for 30 weeks. If they are not having an aspiration to apply for a post-study work visa, the attendance requirements are not necessarily as high in terms of being on campus. But we do obviously love having students in there in our offices, and it's just kind of enhances that experience. So if anyone has any questions around that, I can talk to that in more detail. So this gives you a bit of an idea of some of the indicative program content that is threaded throughout this master's program. So I've spoken to some of this already, but it really kind of dives into emerging disruptive technologies, disruptive systems, technology and ethics. There's a cultural component, so drawing on the Indigenous people of Aotearoa, New Zealand, working through Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the founding document of New Zealand, and Kaupapa Māori. It gives students, international students and domestic students, a way to look at different lenses on technology, including the Indigenous lens. And then thinking about the application of technology, starting to unpack what a research question might look like for their project, and understanding all these levers of change that you hear about being talked about all the time. So why the Masters of Technological Futures? It gives you an opportunity to explore and apply the latest technologies, to innovate, to solve complex problems, to use technology for good, to work on a real world project, as I said before, where you can see immediate impact, to collaborate to enhance your critical thinking and creativity, to build a network of industry experts, and then earn an internationally recognized level 9 master's degree. In terms of who are our students, these programs and all of these programs I'm going to talk about are not necessarily discipline specific. So we have students from every sector and industry enrolled in the Masters of Technological Futures and Change and Resilience, which I'll talk about soon. So we have students from the government, from public sector, from financial professional services, construction, PR, communications, marketing, utilities, retail. We have leaders, we have entrepreneurs, we have developers, technologists, learning and development lead. We kind of name an industry and we probably have had a student from that industry or sector. This is not a discipline specific program, and part of the value from this program comes because not everybody comes from the same discipline and everybody has things to share, and you get to talk to people who you might never otherwise have thought of engaging or interacting with and get to learn a lot from each other. So there's no specific discipline that you need to have had experience or further study about. It's more about what you have done, which is what we look at through the application process. So this is a picture of our cohort of master's students that started only about 3 weeks ago. There are a number of international students in that image. I can see 3, I think. And there were a few more who joined later once their visas were approved. But you can see here the diversity. This was day 1. They were super excited, really looking forward to their master's journey. And this cohort has 7 international students as part of it, and about 16 domestic students. So most of our cohorts are no more than kind of 30 students. So it's very small. We get to know every single one of our students very, very well. And you kind of become part of the academyEx family. You kind of, become part of us. And we are there for you the entire way through the journey. Moving on to number 2, the Masters of Change and Organisational Resilience. I think we all can agree that over the last few years with economic change, with a pandemic, with natural disasters, with technology evolution, lots of things have changed. And organisations are not necessarily keeping up with that change. And so we developed this Masters of Change and Organisational Resilience for that very purpose, to support organisations, to support leaders, to support employees, support community workers, to think about how to build resilience, to be strategic and to be able to deal with disruption. This is the newest Masters that academyEx delivers. We started launching this in the beginning of 2023. We are now up to cohort number 5, and we have about almost 20 graduates of this program so far, and about 100 active students enrolled in the Masters of Change and Organisational Resilience, including domestic and international students. Again, I won't play this video, but you can see it on YouTube. So a lot of the things that I talked about in terms of the Masters of Technological Futures are the same in this program. We have purposely designed these programs to be very similar in their structure, and we've learnt what that effective structure looks like over the past nearly 11 years of delivering postgrad education to professionals and practitioners. So this program is there to, as I said, build resilience that not only enables organisations to withstand disruption, but also to grow. And this program is also a master's research program, can be completed in 14 or 18 months, and is level 9 master's accredited. This is the same, except the topics are different. So you can see there's a technology component to this. People and capability, organisational complexity, and leadership and culture are some of the topics that are taught in this program. Again, you move through to develop a proposal that you then go to implement. This is also delivered with online classes and weekly full-day sessions. And as I said, this is also a research master's degree. So the 90 credit component exists, which means it's classified as research master's and therefore provides the unrestricted work rights on a student visa. So who is this program for? Again, it's for professionals and practitioners. People can be leaders, they might be emerging leaders. We have students right through from CEO level, through team leader level, down to project lead level, all sorts of different leadership positions our students hold So you don't have to be a formal leader. Everybody can be a leader in some way, shape, or form. And this program provides an opportunity to develop those leadership skills. The program is also for people. We often have students who want to change their career or who want to move into kind of specialist change roles, which are becoming more and more prominent within organizations. So again, I will sound like a broken record, but there is no specific industry for this master's. We have students again from all sorts of different sectors, and that again, their ability to be able to interact with people is what makes part of this experience really unique, and what our students really enjoy the most. So this is a picture of our most recent cohort on the left. There are a few international students in that group as well. These two students over here on the left are two of our newest international students coming from Sri Lanka and from India. So they as well were really excited on their first day. They've been going for nearly 4 weeks and are enjoying their experience. This photo on the right was our very, very first cohort of the Masters of Change and Organisational Resilience. And most people in that group are working on submitting their very final master's paper in the next 4 weeks. So we're really excited to have another group of graduates come through this Masters of Change and Organisational Resilience. Again, you can see the diversity within these groups. The Masters of Contemporary Education is where things are a little bit different. So this is a program for educators. The most important thing to note, and I don't want to start off on a negative, but this is really important to know, is that this program is not a registerable teaching qualification. So you can't complete this program and then register as a teacher in New Zealand. This is a program that's designed for educators to build skills in leadership, in digital technologies, in collaboration, in culturally competent practice, and then in practice-based research. So more kind of professional development in education rather than a registerable teaching qualification in New Zealand. This program is also can only be done in 18 months full-time, but is a research master's and provides a level 9 qualification. This is different to the other two masters, wherein I said that the cohorts are both international and domestic. The cohort for the Masters of Contemporary Education will be international only. But there will be lots of touch points with our domestic students. And the reason for this being an international intake is it's very, very difficult for teachers to study full-time. And so most of our teachers study part-time. And so therefore having an intake of full-time domestic students to work alongside our international students is very, very difficult. So instead of not being able to offer this program, because we don't have the class size, we will run an international student intake, assuming we have a minimum number of students enrolled, and find different touch points for you to engage with domestic educators. So primarily these educators are teachers or in leadership positions within schools. There can be primary school, college, secondary school. It can be early childhood education. We've also got some tertiary educators in the mix as well, and other people who have education in their job. So people may be working in libraries or museums or in learning and development. So this one is a little bit discipline specific, but there's still a lot of diversity within the group. So this program again is made up of three pieces. This is a little bit different. The first part is all about digital and collaborative learning. The courses that make up this first part of the Masters of Contemporary Education is the academyEx's longest standing program. So this is a program in and of itself as well for our domestic students at postgraduate certificate level, which has been delivered to over 5,000 teachers in New Zealand. So about 1 in 10 teachers in New Zealand have done the digital and collaborative teaching and learning program. Moving into part 2, building on your knowledge and skills around contemporary education, developing a project proposal, and then moving on to implement a project. Oops. So, what are the benefits of studying at academyEx? As I have said, these are research masters programs. You can study and work full time. Obviously, we talk to students and applicants about the commitment of a master's, and if you're working full time, how that will work. But there is the opportunity to study and work full time. Visas, you can come with your spouse and your children. So we have students who've brought their families with them to New Zealand. You get one-to-one industry advisor support, build up lots of great local connections. And because our sessions are delivered by industry, you get the most up-to-date and relevant material throughout all of the programs. So fees for 2024, and these fees also apply for 2025, 44,000 New Zealand dollars for the tuition fees. There are early bird discounts if you apply in 2024, 8 weeks or more before the program start date. And then in 2025, there are a new early bird that if you apply 6 months or earlier, is a slightly higher discount on the tuition fees. We also have scholarships. So we have academic excellence scholarships that are specific to international students, which is 25% off the tuition fee, or we cover 25% of the tuition fee, and that is based on previous academic records, as well as an application form that gets filled out as part of the process. I'm going to hand over to Asta. I'll keep sharing, Asta, but do you want to jump in and talk about
Thank you.
application and enrollment?
Thank you, Haley. So I'll cover the application and enrollment part of it. So the application process is very simple, to be honest. So immigration advisors can help you and navigate through how you can submit an application. But while you're submitting an application, we need very basic documents, which is like your resume, your academic transcripts, work experience letter, a copy of your passport, statement of intent as to why do you want to do this program or how this program can help you, along with the English proficiency scores. Once the application is submitted online, the next part would be for the student to appear for a pre-interview with me. And once they clear the pre-interview, we move to the next part, which is the final part, to have an interview with faculty. After clearing the faculty interview, we can release an offer letter within 3 to 4 business days. So our process overall, after submitting a complete application, it may take up to 10 to 15 business days for us to release an offer letter after both the interviews are done. If we could just move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So once the application is submitted, our enrollment team will have to verify the documents, and if anything is missing, usually either me or one of my team members would reach out to the student asking for additional documents. And after that, once the application is complete, we can move on with the process, which involves pre-interview and interview. For faculty interview, we know it can be scary when we say faculty interview. So we've already prepared some questionnaires in case students, they want to read through it and get an idea what they can expect. But it's, as Haley said earlier, it's more of a conversation. It's not like the faculty has to ask all the questions. Even if a student has some questions, they can always ask their questions and clear their doubts. These questionnaires are also available on our website. You can download it from there. You've already met me virtually. If you have anything related to your application, feel free to reach out to me. But even later, once an offer letter is released or anything related to your documents, you can always reach out to the rest of the team, which is Shruti and Fortino, because they cater to the enrollment and the offer letter part of the process. Well, so moving to the next slide, we do have a lot of videos and other marketing material available on YouTube. The videos Haley was talking about is also available on the YouTube. If you guys would like to visit and view the videos, you can do that. We also have a lot of events on our website. A lot of those events are free in case you would like to register for any of those events. feel free to do that. And if there is a paid event and you think you want to attend that and you would need a waiver code, you can always reach out to me. And if there is a possibility, we can look into it. Um, Yep. Well, this pretty much brings me to end of my part, and I'll hand over to Miss Vandana right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haley. Thank you, Asta, for that insightful website presentation. I'm quickly going to share my screen now, where I would like to ask Ms. Vandana Rai to speak about the highlights of the master's courses. All right, so Ms. Vandana, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thanks, Priyanka. So all the attendees who are thinking of studying a master's course here in New Zealand wanted to let you know the immigration aspects and the pathways for families and for kids and further residents. So any master's course which is a level 9 program will have a 3-year post-study work visa. So doing a master's makes you eligible to apply for a 3-year post-study work visa. A master's duration, as Dr. Haley explained, the duration could vary between 1 to 1.5 years or 2 years, depending upon the credits. And definitely masters by research. Just give me a So master's apologies there. So masters by research does have full-time work rights while the students are studying. Having said that, they must enroll if they think they would be able to manage their studies and full-time work rights. However, the immigration instructions and the visa will allow them full-time work rights. If they have dependent children, the partners can come on a partnership-based work visa if the main applicant is doing a master's. And as a result, the dependent children can be on domestic fees. That means children can study as free education till year 13. So that's another benefit. And masters definitely has a streamlined pathway to New Zealand residence visa. So under the current setting, skilled migrant category residence visa, which requires 6 points to qualify, a master's qualification will give them 5 points, and the remaining 1 point could then be attained with skilled work experience, which these students can then get while they are on their post-study work visa. 20 hours a week for all masters other than the research, and full-time during the scheduled vacations.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So, all right. So, thank you, all three of you, for giving that information about through your presentation. What I would like to do is now I'll quickly open the floor for questions. As you
We can
rightly
stop
said,
share. So yeah, we can stop sharing the slide as well then. Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
thank you. All right, so now we'll open the floor for questions. And if you have any questions for our speakers, please feel free to ask them. So let's begin with the Q&A session. I'll take the first question here. So someone has asked, do you offer scholarship for international students? As I understand, Dr. Haley did mention about the scholarships that are being offered to international students, but I think they did not get the explanation in a they were not able to get the explanation. I think they may have got confused between the early bird scholarship, but I see that academyEx, they do offer scholarships. If y'all want more information, y'all can write back to us, and we will provide you with the necessary information. Also, the scholarship is available on their website. Is that correct, Dr. Haley?
Yeah,
Right.
there's
Okay.
details on the website.
All right. With that said, I'll move to the next question. So the next question that we have, if someone does not have a bachelor's degree, how can they meet the entry criteria for a master's by research course?
Sure, I
Would
can
one of
answer
you
that.
like?
Yeah, I can answer that. So the entry criteria for our master's degrees, and this might not be the same for other master's degrees in New Zealand. Each of them will have slightly different criteria, but for ours, the entry criteria is the same for research by masters as it is for the other smaller research project component of a master's. So that means you have a bachelor's degree, or if you don't have a bachelor's degree, at least 5 years work experience in a relevant industry or sector.
All right, thank you. Thank you for explaining that. So, if a person does not have a bachelor's degree, they need to have a relevant work experience for approximately 5 years or more in that relevant industry that would help them take up a master's by research course. All right, so moving next, are international students allowed to work full time right from the beginning of the courses, as these courses are categorized as research masters?
Yeah, I can take that. A course which is a master's by research, the immigration instructions allow the students to then have full-time work rights while they are doing a master's, which is a master's by research. And if that is so, the visa condition on the student visa would mention this. That means that the student will have full-time work rights from the start of the course. So I hope it clarifies.
All right. So we have one more question. Does the Masters in Contemporary Education leads to teachers' registration process or not? I think Dr. Haley did cover that it does not lead for teachers' registration. Is that correct? Right.
Correct.
So that answers the questions. I'll move to the next one. The next one that we have, how are students assessed in these courses? Would there be exams or projects till they reach part 3 of the course? Dr. Haley, would you like to answer that?
Sure, I can answer that. So we don't have exams as part of our master's degrees. Our assessment is all applied. So our students will be doing reports. Students can submit assessments in video format. Some of our students' outputs are minimum viable products or all sorts of things. So we take assessment very differently to a traditional exam essay kind of approach, all the way through, right from the beginning to the very end of the master's.
Thank you, Dr. Haley. The next question that we have, the next one that we have, I'm a statistic master's holder with 1 year research component from Sri Lanka. So I would like to apply for higher studies in New Zealand in statistic or data science area. So can I have some advice regarding this? Dr. Haley, would you be able to touch base upon this particular component?
Yeah, definitely. What I'll say first of all is that the Masters of Technological Futures or any of the masters I talked about are not specifically focused on statistics or data science. There might be elements of it, and a student's project could focus on statistics or data science. But questions like this is where that kind of interview comes in to make sure that we can ensure the program's going to be the right fit. So it could be possible, but it depends exactly what you kind of want to do. So without going into super kind of personal advice, that would be my answer there.
Thank you. So the next one that we have, is it possible to work part-time during the course? So I think for this, I would let Ms. Vandana just speak about the work rights that are permitted throughout their student visa.
Okay, so if somebody is doing a master's program, which is a taught master's, they will have work rights which will be 20 hours a week while they are studying and full time during their scheduled vacations and during their summer vacations. So this would be during the term of their study. I would explain further. I went a bit faster when I was covering my slides. Post completion of the master's, they would also be eligible for post study work visa, which they will get for 3 years, and in which they can work full time. They can also be self-employed during this time. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. The next one that we have, I'll just pick up on my pace a bit because I see questions coming in and we are running out of time. All right. So is there a minimum grade requirement for the bachelor's to qualify for the master's course? Dr. Haley?
Not specifically, but obviously the more the better you did in your bachelor's degree, probably the easier postgraduate study is going to be. So there is no set requirement, and we don't kind of decline based on a GPA, but the more successful you've been in undergraduate, the easier postgraduate will be.
Thank you. The next question regarding the academic requirements. If I have done a bachelor's degree from a UK university, but in an offshore campus, will I be exempt from providing additional evidence of meeting English language requirement?
This is a tricky one to answer without the really specific details. So I will be that annoying person and say maybe, because it depends on the way, it depends on the delivery between the UK university and the offshore campus. NZQA have very specific rules around exemptions from English language requirements, which we have to abide by. And so in these situations, we need to look at them on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you, Dr. Ely, for answering that. The next one that we have, do we have to pay full tuition fees at once or can we pay it in parts? Ms. Vandana, would you be able to answer that question?
Yeah, I can cover the immigration requirement on
Immigration part.
this.
Yep.
So if somebody is doing a 1-year program, they are required to pay the entire 1-year fees before their e-visa could be issued. The good thing here is when the application is submitted, the applicants can not pay the fees at that time and only pay once the application is approved in principle. So once the application is approved, they can pay the 1-year fees and then the e-visa could be issued. For programs which are longer than 1 year, they do have a choice of paying 1 year and then paying the remaining of the fees when it is due next. However, they have to be aware that if they pay the fees only for 1 year, they will initially get the visa only for the duration that they've paid the fees for, not for the full duration of the course. And what that would mean is they will then have to apply for further student visa to complete the qualification. So if they are able to afford, in their interest, that they pay the entire course fees. However, if they are not able to, they do have the option of paying 1 year fees initially. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question that we have, what are the career options after completing Master of Contemporary Education? Dr.
Yeah,
Haley?
I can touch on this. I think there is a distinction here between the career options, something looking for in a New Zealand context or in your home country. So if it's in your home country and you're returning there following completion of the Masters of Contemporary Education, there may be obviously possibilities for leadership roles within schools or for other kind of educational careers. If it is remaining in New Zealand and you wanted to teach in a New Zealand school, you would need to go through the process around teacher registration and look at the different requirements for that process, because as we said, this is not a qualification that leads to registration. So most of our students and international students who have applied so far are all teachers, and they're looking for an opportunity to come to New Zealand to learn more about the education system and then return home to their country, but not to say that that's the only option that people have after that master's.
Thank you. I'm going to pick up last two questions. So the second last question that I have, can you kindly tell me what are the benefits for my family, kids, and all? Ms. Vandana, would you be able to take that up?
So the options that the students have for family when they are studying here in New Zealand. So if somebody is doing a master's course, a partner would be eligible to apply for a partner of a student work visa. This work visa can have open work conditions. That means that the partner can work for any employer in any occupation anywhere in New Zealand. And this also allows the partner to be self-employed. Dependent children of these work visa holders then are eligible to apply for domestic fee-paying student visa if they are for their secondary education. That means they will have free education till year 13 here in New Zealand. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. The last one that is being asked is, can you pass this recording for us? So just in case all you attendees, in case if you may have missed out on any of the parts while we were talking due to internet connection, yes, all our webinars are recorded and they are played on our YouTube page. You can visit our website, Immigration Advisors New Zealand Limited website, where you will get to see a YouTube icon, where you will get to see all our recordings available over there. So, with this, as we come to the end of today's webinar, and before we wrap up, I would just like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all our speakers for sharing their insights and valuable information. Dr. Haley, especially thank you for presenting and emphasizing on the diversity in the academic cohorts at Academic EX, because it's inspiring to hear about the variety of ethnicities, cultures, nationalities, and professional backgrounds your students come with and they bring. So this diversity not only enhances their learning experience, but it also helps them for a success in a global and multicultural world. So thank you for that. So now, with this said, I would just like to thank all our participants. We hope you found today's webinar valuable and informative. Remember that the conversation doesn't end here. And if you have any further questions or would like to explore the topics discussed in more details, you can definitely write to us on an email address, which is contact@nzimmigration.info. So before we bid goodbye to all of us, would you all just like to say last few words to all our participants? Uh, Asta, would you like to go first, or Dr. Haley?
Sure. Thank you so much for having us, and I really appreciate everyone's patience. I know everyone is in different time zone. Thank you for listening and sticking around. Have a great day.
Yeah, just to
Thank you, Asta.
echo Asta's thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about what we do at Academy EX. Hopefully, as Priyanka said, that gives some inspiration and some thoughts about what might be possible. And we're more than happy to have conversations, share other information, support, etc. And look forward to maybe welcoming some people through to Aotearoa New Zealand and Academy EX over the next 18 months.